Diese Zahl schockiert gerade das Netz. Jeder dritte Mann findet es okay, wenn er der Partnerin eine wischt, um ihr Respekt einzuflößen. So zumindest das Ergebnis einer Online-Befragung zum Thema Spannungsfeld Männlichkeit. Wir wollten von euch wissen, wie sehr überrascht euch dieses Ergebnis?
The new Ryan Murphy #1 Netflix series in the world, Dahmer, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, as Jeffrey Dahmer's grandmother. Catherine, I mean, how is this possible? I mean, what went through your mind after having perfected America's quintessential mom, Olivia Walton? And now the world is watching you in your riveting role as the grandmother, Catherine, of the monster Jeffrey Dahmer.
Taught him everything he knows.
You even have Wayman, who's in the engineering.
The relationship between female sexuality and female criminality is deeply embedded in Western culture. While we have no trouble imagining men committing the most heinous acts of sexual violence, and have in fact turned that very pastime into a lucrative entertainment model, it's a different story for women. In our minds, women can be sexually deviant, and we certainly have no trouble picturing them committing murder. But conceiving of a woman doing both of these things at the same time is apparently impossible. There are endless narratives of women committing all sorts of wrongs, but in recent cultural memory, many of these perceived wrongs are actually just women exercising their rights, especially their right to sexual autonomy. How many times have we all heard sentiments like, "But did you see what she was wearing?" Or, "What did she expect? She was walking alone at night." And the ever dreaded, "Well, she was asking for it." Even when men commit acts of sexual violence, their victims are made out to be somehow complicit in their own abuse and murder. In the overlapping histories of sexology and criminology in Germany, the sexual crimes of women featured heavily. Yet while discussions about the sexual crimes of men revolved around tales of sex murder, the same wasn't true for women. No. Instead, popular narratives about women's sexual crimes, which was, according to scholars, basically any crime a woman committed, centered not around her sexuality, but her allegedly biologically dictated drive to be a mother. Failing as a mother, be it by murdering her own child, or even simply choosing to forego motherhood at all, was the worst crime a woman could commit, sexual or otherwise. And oftentimes, her punishment in the cultural imagination of 19th and 20th century Germany was death at the hands of a sex murderer. This is why I argue we should take women's alleged wrongs seriously, because more often than not, women are granted no more agency in the crimes they commit than the lives that they live. And this isn't just true of recent history. The legacy of much of this discourse still resonates today, especially in the rhetoric of increasingly anti-feminist movements, whose members, researchers have shown, often appropriate sexological discourses that are now considered antiquated and pseudoscience at best. As we have witnessed, recent decisions by the United States Supreme Court demonstrate that social progress is not linear and serve as a stark reminder that while advocacy for women's rights is crucial, so too is the investigation of women's wrongs.